The mystery of death. Death by its very nature is a mystery. And when someone dies, we ask why he died at the time he did. That very question, why, makes death what it is, because it sends no warning and it chooses whom it wants. Death is like running away from someone who never gives up on chasing you. And you will continue to win as long as he has not overtaken you. Unfortunately, we do not know how near or far our chaser is, and when he will decide to overtake us. We run different races whose end is the same for everyone at one point in time. One truth is that no one lives forever. We all know we are going to die at one point in time. The mystery is we do not know when, we do not know how, and we do not know where. We just need to know that now we are. In a little while we may not be. Death is not new as death, and yet very new when it strikes us. It is a companion we can never get used to because of its style and nature. No one is too big to die. No one is too young to die. No one is bad enough to die. And no one is too good for death to take. Some people say death is blind. That is not true. Death has the best eyes. It takes from us the person we would wish to have around to live for long, and leaves the one we would dispense of. That is the mystery of death, because it is not a punishment for the one who dies. It is a beginning of a new life for the one who dies. No one wants to die, and yet everyone will die. Someone will say, if it is a beginning of a new life, then we would be willing to die. We are not willing to die, not because we shall not, but because we are not in a hurry to die, or even to go to the next life. Because from the next life, we are not going anywhere. Life is like a game. We continue to play as long as the referee has not given us a red card. If you are lucky, you get several yellow cards. But if you are not, you get a red card and a penalty at the same time. Your winning team can lose everything when you get a red card. And yet, everyone plays his own game. The referee has his own rules for the game that the players do not know when and how a red card is given. Your responsibility is to keep playing using the rules you know. Here, some religion will help you to have some rules of the game. 3 questions disturbed us when a person dies. What killed a person? This is a scientific question about cause of death. Autopsy will establish convincingly what could have caused the death, or at least construct plausible theories of the cause of death based on experience on what kills people under certain conditions. This is why every death has its certificate indicating the exact cause of death. It will never be a car crash, for example, but what the crash did on the victim that caused its demise. A good autopsy is unquestionable because that is what biological and physical science is capable of. But that is not enough because it answers only to the questions: how did he die? And what killed him? There is an existential question that has disturbed humanity forever. Why did what killed him kill him at the time it killed him? This is a philosophical and existential question that is explained by reason and the science of reason. Why do we die? Because we are contingent beings. We are not necessary beings. Our existence is not a necessary existence. And therefore, we are governed by space and time. We are made of a combination of corruptible and incorruptible material. So that when the animating incorruptible material is separated from the corruptible material, the corruptible loses vitality, and we say a person has died. The animating principle, also called the soul, continues to live, while matter disintegrates into elements of matter, leaving only prime matter to continue to exist. For Christians, even that matter will rise again at the end of time, transformed to the pattern of the incorruptible, that is, the soul. This seems too hard to comprehend, because this existential explanation causes a headache, and rightly so. It leads to a shortcut question: who killed him? Among many African societies, there actually, being no exception, people do not die. They are killed. Even with a bad look, or a comment on the roadside, or a bad strange bird that landed on the roof of the dead. At the end, the question who killed him is also a causal question. It is a good question, as long as we have no obligation to give an answer. At the end, the responsibility for death of a person is shared, what we call culpability. The person who dies shares some blame of his death. Why did he go so quickly? Or why did he not avoid certain circumstances that led to his death? Especially if the death is sudden and unexpected. The people responsible for him are also responsible. Those who took care of him and those who were close to him, who could have done certain things that they did not do. The irony is, even what could have been done that was not done is only known after the death of the person, that certain things could have been done to avoid the death. Is only a cry for the dead. But at the end, misfortune takes the lion's share and takes care of all other natural factors that makes a person dies at the time he dies with what kills him. So, when someone dies, we are right to ask questions, because death by nature causes those questions. But we are wrong to begin pointing fingers at people when we do not have evidences. When Africans look for the cause of death, which are not evident, they do not do so for vengeance, but to appease the dead, that we made efforts to find out the cause of death. In this way, the dead is happy that if we had the power, we would save him from death. Death cannot be postponed. It cannot be tamed. It cannot be killed. It cannot be diverted. It cannot be avoided. It is compulsory for all contingent beings. When your 40 days are over, it will take you where there will be no pain, and leave pain for those who will remain behind. My friend, just live fully every day so that when death overtakes you, those who remain will have great memories of who you were, and you continue to live in the minds and hearts of both people who loved and hated you. And if you are good enough, you will continue to live in many children who will be born and named after you. So my friend, just when someone dies, think about your own death, because all of us will die at one time, whether we like it or not. The good news is, it's not the end. A beginning of a life that has no limits, for good or for bad. Until next time, I greet you. It is hard to talk about death, but we must also talk about death.